Hello viewers, and you're welcome to another edition of Captured by Women. My name is Rospond Aite, and as always I'm here with my pretty presenters Nanama and Petra. Today's show promises to be very exciting. For the spin, we are going to be discussing the shoot to kill comments made by the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament and the several reactions this has received, and share our views about it as well. For the Big Bang, we will also discuss Ghana's explosive population and the implications that it has for us as a nation. We will be joined by the Executive Director of the National Population Council to dissect the issues therein. I'm sure you've heard about our 3 Ghanaian ladies who excelled exceptionally at the 2017 West African Senior High School Certificate Examination. For Career Women today, we are going to have a special Career Girls feature that would introduce you to them and get to know about them more. And then finally, for our lifestyle segment, we are going to be talking about ginger. Yes, ginger. We cook with it. We use it for several things. But today we're going to learn more about ginger, its benefits, and how we can use it optimally. So stay tuned. As you can see, it's a very exciting lineup today. Stay glued. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. On the spin, we're discussing a recent happening in the northern region, the military task force seized some mining equipment and burnt it down because they thought those men were illegal and didn't have the right to have those equipment on the ground. But contributing to this issue on the floor of Parliament, the first Deputy Speaker, in the person of Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu, said he thought that the security agencies should be giving the mandate to shoot anybody who was engaged in Galamsey. But this has received so many reactions, and we're here to discuss that. Ladies, I think that came out from his frustration of the situation. But again, we've said time and again that you are an honorable person in Parliament, and so how you communicate what you think is very important. He may have really just been too passionate about the issue and forgot where he was and uttered these comments. And of course, it has received that lambasting that I think Ghanaians would give it, because you can't, you know, cure an illegality with criminality. You can't take a life that you didn't put on this earth just because you think they're doing the wrong thing. That's why the laws exist. And I think ideally the laws then have to work. Otherwise, it will become a lawless country. Everybody takes a gun to do or get away with someone that you think is engaging in illegal activities. But what's your take on it?
Well, I agree with you. So obviously, we are all deeply frustrated as a nation, and obviously the Honorable First Deputy Speaker of Parliament was also. But I think that the shoot to kill is a bit strong, and that the objective is that we want to put in place measures and stiffer punishments that would deter people from continuing to engage in Galamsey. So, I mean, the overall objective of what I think he was trying to put across, I think is okay. But how do we go about it? What methods do we use to ensure that, you know, we disincentivize these miners and stop them from actually polluting water bodies, you know, that's, you know, feed communities, or that acts as source of livelihoods for communities. So in that sense, I think that in trying to cure this problem, we have to go back to the law. Right. Yeah. Because it all goes back to the mining law, the provisions in there. And if we need to put in stiffer punishment, we need to go and either amend or repeal it. Right. You know, so those are the dynamics, you know, that play out, you know, with this.
Petra, before you get in, let's show them a clip of what actually happened in Parliament and how the comments were said, so they can also make meaning of this. Let's watch this.
Some very extreme suggestions. I know people are not happy with that, but regrettably, I don't have the authority. If I had, I would have made the law that if you find people on the water bodies, shoot them.
Okay, so you saw that. So Petra, now let's hear what you also think.
It's very obvious that the honorable member was quite frustrated, and so I'm sure that was what birthed his comments. And so I would say that it's obvious. We can move away from that, but my focus and where I like to talk about this issue is we do have a serious issue with indiscipline in our society. And indiscipline across. I mean, it gets to points of very high levels of frustration. A few days ago, I was driving, and a tractor driver had the traffic light was red, but he was almost in between his lane and the next lane. And my 5-year-old daughter said, "Mommy, but the light is red. What is he doing there? Won't the police catch him?" And I said to her, yes, he's not supposed to be there, but there's no policeman around. I mean, and for me, it hurt so much that indiscipline is so obvious. I mean, on our roads, wherever you go, it's impunity, actually. We have to do something about it. And I'm sure he felt that, what are we going to do? You know, shoot to kill is definitely illegal. We can't say shoot to kill. But it's just a reflection of how frustrated one can get with how bad the situation has become. Because we do have laws. There are laws in existence, and people are trying to enforce the law. So we have a task force that is out there trying to make things better. And people are rather entrenching the wrong behavior. You know, I don't agree with shoot to kill. I feel that everybody, if once you are caught in an act of criminality, you should be given the fair right to be heard and to go through the justice system. But we have to talk about the issue of indiscipline. Because it's everywhere. It's very frustrating, and that's what leads to things, the comments like this. Because people talk about, recently, a lot of my friends have been talking about the fact that you hear about how we were in the 80s when there wasn't democracy. And indiscipline was not like this. You won't see people on the streets hawking and doing what they like because Abaye will come with canes. And now we have the law in place, and we say the rule of law, and people are rather being so lawless. So we really have to think about, we have to police ourselves. I mean, we shouldn't wait for the police or the military to come and tell us, drive in a straight line. It's so outrageous. You find on the streets, you get to a crossroads. In every normal situation, it should be the first who gets in, gets out, like that. But when there's nobody there regulating, it becomes like a jungle. I mean, and there are funny situations where you find people who are not too mentally stable directing traffic, and we are all obeying them. And when this person moves away, it goes back.
All at the same time. And you're wondering what's happening.
So there's a bigger issue that we need to focus on.
There's a deep-seated issue of indiscipline in our community.
But
we have to address it.
It's also this Galamsey thing and who, you know, enforces them. Because I really believe that, take away the discipline, if there was no one pushing in or funding this in a way, then I think their arms will be clipped at some point. Their wings will be clipped.
These young people,
but these are being funded or funded from big sources.
Yes,
and
but
these
young people engaged in Galamsey, they live in these communities. They experience the impact of the degradation of the farmlands and the lands that they live in. They see, you know, so I feel that really we need to begin to consider what has gone wrong with our social structure. Because there were things in our culture, there were times where they would tell you, don't go to the farm on a particular day. Maybe it seemed like superstitious, but there were reasons why. To preserve the land, to preserve, you can't go and fish every day. The fish, expect that the fish will always be there. You know, so some of the things, and it's almost as if we've lost it. We have. We're just going into our lands and our forestry and spoiling everything.
But because it's now, also, but now, you know, there's also the bigger issue of, you want people to stop illegal mining. I don't know, I haven't heard, but is there any program for alternative livelihoods? Because you're asking people to stop mining. These people need to survive. So is there a short-term, medium-term, long-term plan, alternative livelihoods program for these people that you're asking them to stop, for them to earn a living? So that's also the other side of the conversation. Otherwise, people are hungry, people need to survive, and they need to work. And that's so that also needs to be explored. Yes,
because they're also desperate, and they're thinking, so what should we do? I mean, if this is where we can get money from, what should we do? So we need to consider that as well. For me, it's just a very...
They have considered it. I remember when, I mean, the current government was put in place, they spoke about making alternative jobs for these people who came out of Galamsey into doing, I mean, they even spoke about the wood logging and all that. But, you know, the bigger picture also came in when we're talking about criminals. Because we said it is the same kind of money we're going to use to create these job avenues, these alternate, you know, jobs. And it seemingly comes back to you as the individual. Why then does government have to think of the right kind of work you have to do as Petra? Petra, did you ever start asking government to show you how to get into sales or marketing? No, you found it out yourself because that was the only right way to go. And so in as much as we'll talk about the alternate jobs or creating, government looking at that way because you are, you know, making them disadvantaged at one point, and so you need to advantage them on another end. it's a big story, because then government equally has to make room for criminals so that they don't even engage in the criminal activities, and then it's a cycle.
Yes, but that's responsibility of government.
And it's both you and the government.
But there's also the other conversation about, we know what is wrong is wrong. The law must work. So do we have the appetite, you know, to be able to, people cite the case of Rwanda, that is one of the cleanest cities or countries in the world. How did they get there? You know, so that's also, you know, I'm sure there must be some interesting program, both, you know, harsh and all that, to get them to where they are now. So what is our appetite as Ghanaians to be able to take certain hard decisions to get us to where we need to get to? That's also part of the conversation.
Because, you know, I had an uncle who, even as a young child, will tell us that, don't think because I'm in a police, when you offend, you know, you are against the law, I'll come and bail you out. He says, at that point, don't even think of mentioning my name. And it stuck with me that, okay, so this man is not there to help us in any way. And so whenever I was on the street, I mean, if anything was happening, I'll just try and remove myself from it, because I don't have anyone to call, you know. And I think that's where we need to get to, that you feel there's no one you can report to come and bail you out of that negative attitude you've just, you know, performed. So maybe until we get there, we'll still have this big issue rolling.
No, but shoot to kill is
there's no. There's a no at all.
We'll take a short break and then we'll continue with the rest of the segment. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back. In 1957, Ghana's population was estimated at 6 million. Today, our population is estimated at almost 30 million. You will agree that that's a huge leap. But to help us understand and put into perspective what our issues with population are and whether we should be worried or not, we have in our studio today Dr. Letitia Adelaide Appiah, who is a physician, a senior public health specialist, and currently the executive director of the National Population Council of Ghana. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So when you think about 1957 and you think about now, it feels like a very long time, 61 years. And the number looks like a very huge leap. Is this a number we should be worried about? What are the issues we should be discussing in relation to our population? Because you think about 2010, where we're about 24 million, and now we're getting to 30 million. What is accounting for this growth, would you say?
Yeah, it means that we are growing very fast. We are growing at a rate of 2.5 per annum. So that is why we can move from 24 million to almost 30 million now. But you see, when you talk about population, it's all about using the human resource in any country for development, for the common good of everybody, you know. And the economics have the index, the GDP, you know. The GDP is the amount of money in any country. And the GDP per capita is the amount of money every individual has. That means that the amount of money we have divided by the people will give you the GDP per capita. So you know that it depends on the population. You can have a country like Nigeria, whose GDP is actually bigger than Norway. But the GDP per capita in Norway is bigger than that in Nigeria. Because Norway is just 5 million and Nigeria is about 190 million. So that is how it plays out. And you are either high income, low income, based on the GDP per capita, which means that the population is critical in your quality of life of any nation. So the rate of growth is important, because if you were 24 million then and we are 29 million now, if our GDP stays the same, which means that our GDP per capita will go down now compared to then if we did nothing about it.
Right, Dr. Appiah, you do mention the quality of life, and that for me is very important, because as it stands now, our social amenities don't seem to have increased to meet the number or the growth rate. And I'm wondering, as a council, what has been the input to these developmental policies that will correlate with such a growing population?
You see, the issue is that in any mathematical equation, what you do to the left-hand side, you have to do to the right-hand side, right? So if the population is growing very fast, then we have to increase our infrastructure at a fast rate to catch up. Or the other way, we slow down the growth rate to meet the infrastructural deficit. That is the only way, you know.
Okay, but as it stands now, well, of course, I don't know what exactly, but looking at it, has the National Population Council been able to say whether what we have for now is going to be able to sustain even this current population rate or population number as at 29.6 million?
Well, I don't think it behoves the National Population Council to say or not, but all of us as Ghanaians, because we all have a stake in it. The vision of the National Population Council is improved and sustained quality of life for everybody. And we are all stakeholders. We have to create the quality of life that we want. And it starts from down, you know. Isn't
increase in population also promoting economic growth as a result of demand for goods and services? So why should we be concerned as a country and be having this discourse?
And let me just add to that question, because there's also the issue of productivity. I've been thinking about this, and you know, in the olden days, you would say that a wealthy cocoa farmer was someone who had a big family and everybody was working on the farm. Will our population have a direct relationship to productivity if we worked around it in a particular way, adding to what Rosamond asked?
You see, the issue is that times change, and you have to change with time. In those days, we didn't have technology. We didn't have tractors. So we needed the human power to till the land. If you were moving from here to the north, you could take 2 weeks or a week. Now you can take 45 minutes to get there. You can go for a meeting in the north and come back to Accra the same day. So things have changed. So which means that we also have to change. You know, our mortality rates have come down. So if fertility stays the same, then we are going to have so many people, and it would invariably decrease our quality of life.
So Doc, where do you think the focus should be? I mean, we've mentioned the fact that should there be a corresponding increase in infrastructural development to match it, or we should rather create and deepen the awareness on birth control measures? Between these two, would you think we need to pursue both equally, or we should focus more on one of them? What do we do with these two to control the population?
Well, I think now we're doing a lot of economic empowerment, you know, and for me, life is supported by two things all the time. You breathe in and you breathe out. Which one is better? You understand? Which one is better? Are you going to breathe in and keep it there? Keep it there? You're going to die out of it. You understand? So the balance, life is full of balance all the time. We have day, we have night. Which is better? We work during the day and rejuvenate at night. So we need both, you know. So we need the economic development, yes. You're talking about expanding infrastructure. By whom? For whom? You understand? We are the people who would expand the infrastructure. I think that we are on this earth to fulfill agendas. And the agenda in my mind that we are supposed to fulfill are threefold. Yes, you reproduce, you educate yourself, and you impact society. So we all keep doing that. Then it's a cycle.
Okay, you mentioned the issue of looking at the population structure. Could you just speak a bit more to that? What can we do to manage? Because it seems, you use the example of Nigeria where there are lots of young people. So about 40% or so were 15 and below. That's very staggering. So what can we do to manage, because we do know that we have quite a large size of youth, young people. What's the plan? What's the council doing to?
You see, I think as a country, you have to glamorize small family size, you know, because you see, what the Asians did, we say the Asian miracle. I don't think it's a miracle. You know, the population structure supported them to develop economically. You understand? Because when you have fewer children, you can save. You can save if you have 2 children than if you have 5 children. And if you save, then the government can fall on it for infrastructure development. If you have 2 children, you can have time for them and put the values in them. Now the values of honesty, of integrity are all lost. You know, but we need time to imbibe those in our children. Then you will also have time to harness yourself. I don't think that the ultimate role of a woman is to reproduce and that's it. I think it goes beyond that.
Yeah, there have been comparable countries who may have similar populations and maybe even similar or smaller land size, but they have been able to manage the situation well. Let's say UK, for instance. We see that they're at a good place economically as compared to us. Would you say management or managerial positions or administrative roles have played a role in this whole population growth?
You see, so what if I tell you that a person is 80 kilos? Is it a normal weight or not?
What's the age?
Exactly.
What's the height?
What's the height? What's the age? That is it. So if you say population size or the number of people, what's the structure?
So would that feed into demographic dividend? Can you tell us a little about that?
Well, the demographic dividend is a dividend. Okay. And you know, if you don't invest, you don't get any dividend. You understand? Okay. The banks will declare dividend when they have invested your money and made some profit, and then they give you dividends. Okay. So it's not automatic. You have to really want to get it, you know. And we can only reap the dividend when fertility declines. Because when fertility declines, then the dependency ratio would decrease. Right. And then, because fertility is declining, the number of school children in a class will also decrease. And if it decreases, quality of education would improve. Nutrition would improve. Less work in the hospitals.
Certainly.
You know. Yeah. So then that is how it gets a ripple effect. Okay. And then people are freer. Then because we have small family sizes, like I said, we will save. Then we will get money for tourism. You know.
I have a situation in Ghana where when you get married, they start asking you, oh, when are you going to have your first child? Then you have the first child. Oh, when are you having the second child? You have the second child. Oh, is that all? So I have two, for instance, and I keep getting people asking me, oh, is it all? You only have two. When are you having the third one? I feel that it's built into our culture and our socialization to want to have large families. It's beginning to change gradually, but it's almost as if those who have like 2 and 3 are the odd ones.
It's almost like someone is questioning your fertility behind the scenes.
Exactly, yeah, so that's it. But I'm thinking, when we talk about economic standard of living and well-being, we also need to think about the fact that the lower you are on the life scale, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs, people who are at the base, the things they think about are food, shelter, and of course sex. So there's a lot of fertility issues, and you realize that that's where the I don't want to use the word born in, but there are lots of children born into the communities where you feel that maybe the social amenities are not that great, they don't have access to the basic things, and that's where you find a lot of children. Is there something that we are doing long term to figure out what to do? Because you go into the affluent communities, people living in well-to-do neighborhoods, and just around the corner, there's a family who is obviously struggling, but they're 5, 6, 7 children, all like
and adding on.
You know, I feel that it's a long-term plan that we need to have. I'm sure the council has something, but just for our comfort's sake, what's been done?
Well, I think that probably we have failed them, because you see, when you marry and you're with your husband, that is what naturally happens. You understand? We don't have a lot of demand creation on the media. We don't have a lot of education about the importance of small family sizes. We don't have a lot of education about how you can harness your own well-being by having small family sizes. We're not showing them that. You know, a lot of pregnancies are as a result of, I don't think that they want to get pregnant, but they want to have sex. And then they get pregnant. They don't know they are safe periods like you do, you know. So there's a lot of things that we need to do to support them. Otherwise, why would somebody get pregnant and have an abortion? You know, if you're really looking forward to the pregnancy, why would you have a baby and sell the baby for 25 Ghana cedis if you really were looking towards, I mean, you wanted a pregnancy? You understand? So we don't have to say that they have many children if they don't want it. And that is not what even the data says. The data tells us that they're having more children than they want, but probably we're not taking the services to them. So we are failing.
So it means then that the family planning campaign programs, the birth control measures, to some extent haven't worked, or, I mean, have been deficient, isn't it? Because if we've had family planning campaigns as long as I can recall, and the expectation is that that would overall have an impact, you know, of managing population control. But obviously we're still growing at quite an explosive rate. So one would say that that hasn't worked, or the programs are deficient.
Well, I want to correct you, not population control, population management.
Management, okay,
yes,
thank you.
Okay. Not controlling. You see, you're a doctor, so I'll go back to you. Do you know the number of immunization centers we have in just Lejokuku? So many of them.
There will be a lot.
There will be a lot. How many family planning centers do we have?
Very few.
Very few.
Okay.
You understand? Yes. You see, when we started the campaign with Take Your Girl Child to School, it was all over on the air. Take your girl child to
yes.
school,
Yeah.
take your girl, and then we'll be dancing, you know, and then the schools are there, the teachers are there, the materials are there. You understand? Right. So then it is easy for you to change behavior. But if we sit back, when was the last time you heard a family planning, a really comprehensive family planning, talking about the methods and how it is used, you know, to the women, the advantages of birth spacing and limiting your births, you know, linking that to economic empowerment and all those things. When was the last time we did that? We see more of soap operas than that.
Should we stop people from coming in as well? Because there's immigration and migration. Well, the migration is what brings people in.
Yes, migration. But then you have to look at what is increasing your population. And in my mind, it's actually the fertility.
Okay.
I say that because you just check from Ghana Education Service. Annually, the kindergartens increase.
They do.
They do. The primary schools increase. The immunizations for children increase. Are they migrating here, the children?
Well, hopefully they're not adopting them. But I mean, is it not alarming? Is it not worrying? Because really, when I look at these numbers, like Petra said, 1957, for me, 61 years is not too far, because we may just live to see another 61. And if the country will then be in billions at the time, and I look at the infrastructure we even have now, and even there are people who are struggling in the communities. But usually when we talk, we think about those of us in the you know, cities, but look at those in the rural areas who really are struggling. So when you know, National Population Council and maybe the bigwigs sit down, what are some of the factors they're looking at doing now to try and control population?
She actually said we shouldn't use the word control. They are managing.
Oh, sorry, manage. I thought I was using the right word.
Can we not think about how to let our country be a good place for all these people, instead of thinking about how to reduce the size of the people? Because I tend to feel that we may get into the point where maybe we won't have any extreme measures, like how China said, one family, one child. And now they're trying to encourage people to have children. We may not do that. I hope, I don't know. But what about if we get to the point where, because now we have countries where elderly people don't have any family. So they're living alone, they're alone, and sometimes they pass and they're alone. So there's nobody to take care of them. Possibly they didn't have any children, they didn't have any family around them. I'm worried that we may get to that point if that's the extreme. But if we tend to feel that having a large population is the issue, instead of trying to fix the issues of having a large population. Because if we have more people, if I had 5 children, I was earning 100 cedis, and now I have 6 children, should I not be trying to get more money? Access to more money than trying to send one of my children away? I'm wondering, you know, like in practical terms, what can we do?
I think they're valid. Nobody's asking to increase anything, the numbers. No, because otherwise it's going to be killing people. No, it's just the rate of growth. It's the rate of growth that is important. Do you understand? Global growth rate is 1.2. We are 2.5. Global total fertility rate is 2.5. At 2.5, no country will go into extinction. It's when the total fertility rate goes below 2.1. 2.1 is the replacement level. Because it's assumed that 2 people replace 2 people. You understand? That's how they got the figure 2.1. So when you go below, I mean, the countries that have a total fertility rate below 2, they are going into extinction. Since there's a doctor here, I like the medical example. Do you understand? There's a normal BMI, is that not true? 18.5 to 24.9.
Yeah, 0.9.
Yes. Right. And then there is underweight below that. And there is overweight. And there's obese. So if somebody has come to your clinic and the person, you put the person on diet, the person has lost so much weight, and another person comes and the person is obese, are you going to say that because this person lost so much weight, this person should stay obese so that it doesn't so that it doesn't get into the emaciated state? Is that what you are going to be saying? What are you going to say?
Okay, so you try using that analogy,
and work them to come. That is how it is. I am just advocating for improved quality of life. You see, when I go out and I see all those good things, I would wish that my countrymen and women would also see that before they die. You know, but we get to go out and see the good things, and somebody would stay in my village and never get the opportunity. I don't think it's good enough. You know, so when you go and see what is good, it is you try, and then at the judgment day, Peter asks you, what did you do? You say, I tried and did it. You see?
And on
Now,
that
answering your last question before on that very, you see, you say that if you have 5 children and you have 6, you work more. What you forget is that you have this much energy.
Yes.
And you have this much time
Yes.
to do this work of nurturing children, taking care of yourself, and helping society.
Thank you very much, Dr. Apia.
Balance.
It's been a very, very interesting conversation. I think for us, the takeaway is that we need to have a balance. Our population is growing, but we need to figure out how to balance it, and especially consider the population structure, because we do have to consider how we're going and how we're progressing into the future, because we want to all enjoy our lives and we want to have a healthy community and healthy children and healthy families. So on this note, we'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the show.
Welcome back. So on Career Women today, we are profiling 3 female Ghanaian students who emerged tops in the 2017 West African Senior Certificate Examinations. Out of about 1.8 million students from selected West African countries, our proud girls came up tops. So for Career Women, we are following up with them and getting to know them better. Let's take a watch.
You're still watching Captured by Women, and today on our Career Woman segment, we are celebrating 3 young ladies who have made a mark in the academic sector in the country and even in the entire continent. I'm talking about 3 female students who made it to the top in the 2017 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination. 3 of them are currently at the University of Ghana studying medicine, and we want to get up close with them, get to know them better, get to know their story, how they did it, because there are a lot of challenges in our school system in the country, no doubt. Infrastructure, curriculum activities, and so on and so forth. There's a whole lot to discuss, but in spite of all the odds, they have stood out in the entire West Africa. This is Audrey, and this is Rachel. And Audrey was the first runner-up, and Rachel the second runner-up. Let's start with your school days at secondary school, preparing towards exams. What special thing did you do that you think others didn't do that made you this success?
Well, I think I was always learning ahead, learning in class, trying to solve any questions I get my hands on. No, I was determined.
How was it like for you, your basic education up to secondary? The things that you needed to study and all that?
Well, they were there. The support was there, support from my teachers, and right from the GHS level, I started putting effort in my studies.
Would you say that, or would you blame students who may not have everything as you had if they fail?
No, it's mostly about determination. Some maybe the materials are not there, but a determined student will work at it, to work hard to get what he or she needs to be able to do well. A determined student will make sure to get the materials needed.
How are you? You were from Ebri Girls. Which primary JHS did you attend before SHS?
Okay, I attended Happy Kids School, primary and GHS, the same place. Yes.
All right, so back at Ebri Girls, would you say that you had all the necessary infrastructure that helped you attain that success, everything that you needed to excel?
Okay, on the part of the school, yes, to some extent, because we had well-furnished laboratories, we had teachers, yes, so I had what I needed, but there are some things that you would want that we didn't get. For example, we didn't start practicals on time. We started in final year, yes, which was a bit late as compared to those who completed before us, but it was okay.
How was your first semester like for you?
Okay, the directions there, getting around campus was also trying because in the first place I didn't come for orientation, so the area of the school I didn't know anywhere. I was depending on I meet someone and I ask a person for directions and I go my way.
So what would be your word of encouragement to young girls out there? Because your cases are exceptional because you are ladies, and usually we expect the guys to be doing some of these courses that we think are too hard to do. And so what would you tell the young ladies who think that certain things, the sciences and the maths, are for the boys?
Well, the site is for everybody. You put your mind to it, you can do it. No course is reserved for a particular, whether boys or girls. Anybody can do it. It's a mentality that has been put into them that means mostly maybe there are some particular courses they only see boys doing it, so it's in their head that just it's only for boys. So when they come here and then even you are urging them to do this course, then it's for boys. So no matter what, they don't put their all in it. Anybody can do anything, any course you want to do. All courses are for everybody. No course is like just for boys, just for girls.
Your full name?
My full name is Joshibed Ajwa Sutherland.
Where did you have your basic education?
My primary education was actually in a public school by name Old Hospital Primary School. It's in secondary, yes. And then I had my GHS level at VR International School in Abuati. Yes. So
you were a Takrady girl?
Yes, Takrady girl.
Tadi. Okay. So how was it like in Tadi? I mean, even before you got into Holy Child, your basic education?
I guess I've tasted both sides of, like, I know how a good school with great facilities is, and I know how a school with bursting talents but with, let's say, lower opportunities is. Because my basic school, I had a lot of, from class 1 to class 6, a lot of intelligent classmates. There was competition there, but I guess what we saw as competition wouldn't have been competition in another school like VR International School. Yes, so when I was moved there, the transition was a bit difficult in the first term.
So how was it like for you at Holy Child?
Holy Child School is amazing because there are so many avenues. They don't only want you to achieve academically, but they want you to come out as a well-rounded person. And pursuing general science in an all-girls school, the teachers there, when you come, they'll tell you that science is not just let's say a sex specific or for a particular group of people who have been groomed from your previous school. It's for everybody, and it's tough. They actually tell you that it's tough, so you need to know what you want to do. You need to apportion your time even right from the get-go, like day one of SHS.
Would you share with us some high or low moments, especially during the examination period?
During the examination, math, E-math, people shaking, all that. E-math was our first paper, and it had never happened before. I heard that you start with a major subject like elective maths, that's your first paper. So I guess that paper in particular, the first few minutes of it were very, like, the longest minutes of my life. Yeah, but it turned out well. Everything turned out well. Yeah.
When you heard the news that you have been the overall best, West Africa, so the sharpest student or the best student in the whole of West Africa, how did that make you feel?
Well, it was an amazing something. It was a miracle because honestly, it wasn't something that I planned for. We all learned to get 80s, get into medical school because it's very competitive. Yes, but it wasn't I may have thought about it, but it wasn't something that, okay, I must get this. No, it's just like some kind of gift given to me. Yeah.
Okay. So now that, after it all, by God's grace, you're now studying medicine. You also want to be a doctor?
Yes. I want to work with Doctors Without Borders one day. Yes, hopefully soon enough, because I really like what they stand for. They are showing like the human face of medicine. Medicine is not meant for those who can afford it. Even when you can't afford it, healthcare is your right in a way as a human being. So I want to work with Doctors Without Borders. Yeah.
All right. So going forward, how do you think our educational system can be made better for people? I'm glad that you didn't have so much of a good background, if I may put it that way, but some way, somehow, you've managed to get to the top. There are certain people who are also going through the same, not in the best of schools. Even if they are best students, they find themselves in certain circumstances where they would have wished for something better. How do you think authorities can make things happen for these students to also come up with their best?
I'll say we are not taking good care of our public schools. It's a fact because, okay, true, the government has a lot on its plate, and district assemblies coming down, decentralization, all those people in charge, they would say, oh, there's not enough money in the budget. But education is one key thing that as a nation we can't mismanage, or let's say not pay enough attention to. So I guess everybody should be concerned, from the guy who lives next door to the school to the pastor in the area. Everybody should want to make that school succeed, because our future leaders, as we always put it, are in those schools. Not everybody might be able to send his or her child to a private school. Some people can move their children out, but we are not supposed to neglect our public schools because, let's say, oh, I can afford to send my child here, so whatever happens there, I don't really care. No, in some way it concerns you too, because I'll say a minority of students are in private junior highs or primary schools. The majority are in public schools. So public funds that are meant to fund public schools should have more resources being put in there. And anybody at all, whether a company or somebody's social responsibility, you feel like doing something, go to a school, assess them, what they need, and then find a way to, if you can't provide it yourself, find a way to put their problems out there for other people who can, to come and help them.
Those are three wonderful ladies we are celebrating today on Career Women. Always see yourself in your mind's eye, what you intend being, and then with hard work and determination. That's the word, determination, because if you're not determined, you will give up. There are so many challenges that may come your way that would force you or push you out of that dream, but don't just give up. Just see yourself in these wonderful ladies and tell yourself that you can indeed do it.
So that was very interesting, wasn't it? Amma, Petra, what do you think?
Well, for one, I want to have a few minutes of dancing for them and let them know that we're very proud of you girls.
Extremely proud.
Extremely proud.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful thing for us to have three young women, and it's not just Ghana. This is West Africa.
Yes.
They've made us so proud. They're young women. It's so exciting. I was asking Amma, why are they all in medical school?
I know. I mean, kudos to them. It's not easy, particularly when we keep talking about what WASI really means. You're in school, you have just a few months to cram all that you've learned in 3 years. So it's a bit difficult, but they did us proud. They went out there, and of course, they put Ghana high on the flag. But celebrating Ghana Month, even makes it better, because, So we're proud of you. Keep doing what you do. And I'm sure Holy Koa and Abri girls will be making
you're very excited.
But the rest of the girls are also still like, they will always top it.
Amma.
Yeah, of course. I have to share what I know. That is what I know. That Ghanaian will always top it. But Charlie, all the best. All the best.
All right. On that note, we'll move on to the next segment, which is the lifestyle segment. Please stay glued.
Welcome back. So on the lifestyle segment, we're going to be talking about a favorite spice of all women who cook. But some of you don't know the benefits of ginger that you use. Some just use it because they've tasted it, they like it, and we might as well throw it into that dish you're preparing. But today, we're going to talk about the scientific benefits and the health benefits in total and what you can do with ginger as a whole. We'll be speaking to Rosalind Esi Ahene. She's the technical manager and head of food and drinks laboratory at the Ghana Standards Authority. Welcome to Captured by Women, Rosalind.
Thank you.
So let's talk about ginger. Every woman uses it, but for me, I really don't know the benefits. I just use it because my grandmother used it, my mother used it, and I have to use it.
You've inherited it.
Yes, tell us a bit more about the spice called ginger.
Yeah. Okay, so ginger is used in every home, just like you said. It's a spice, and it's a spice to flavor your food. You know, most of the foods are bland unless you add some spices. But then ginger also has some medicinal values that has been used since ancient times. So you put ginger in your food and it will add some taste or aroma to your food. But it can also help heal something or cure you from some disease that you're going through. It's also used to prevent certain diseases. So it really depends from being anti-inflammatory to curing stomach disorders. A lot of people use it to prevent cough or to cure cough. Yes, when yes, that is true. So mostly for the upper respiratory infections. And especially also for pregnant women, you know, because of the pungent taste, it prevents you from having that morning sickness. Even when you have
nausea and all that.
Yes, nausea. Even when you have gone through cesarean operation and all that, you know, you have that nausea. So it's not only for pregnancy, for post-operative nausea and all that.
You know, I've heard it said that the way we use the ginger in the processing we put it through sometimes can result in losing the value. Is that true? And what are the best ways of using ginger in processing it? What should we do in order to maintain the value for men?
Okay, so first of all, it's true that when you scrape off the skin, you lose some of the benefit. In actual fact, ginger has its medicinal value and even the taste from the oil that it contains. You realize that if you put it in warm water and you cover it, when you open it, you see some oil on top. Yes. So that oil is actually responsible for the aroma. And it's mostly contained in the skin. So when you scrape off the skin, you lose most of the oil. And then the bioactive element, or what gives ginger the taste, the pungent taste, is called ginger. And above a certain temperature, you lose much of the ginger. So the way we cook our meal and keep cooking and cooking,
so that all the water will vanish.
We lose some of it. Yes.
And then it means that, you know, sometimes you go to some chop bar. That's the only way I can describe it. And they have ginger
aside.
On the side. So it means that it's actually good to do it that way. You
you
grind it and put it in your food straight away.
Yes, you get much more. You get much more. However, as much as it is cooked, you still have some of the ginger remaining.
But not as much.
Not as much as in the fresh.
Okay.
So I'm worried about the peeling of the skin off, because I don't know whether in other countries it's grown any other way, but it comes right from the soil. When you buy it in the market, you have to actually scrape. Yes, because my grandmother would use the steel metal to scrape and make sure it looks clean. And so I'm wondering if there's any other way of washing it so that you don't actually scrape off all the skin.
Well, it means you have to wash it severally. What you're saying is true. I'm actually working on ginger, and I had to soak it for some hours to get the sand off it, and wash it for about 4 times. And you must wash it with pressure so that you get the sand off and you get some of the microbes off as well, because it comes directly from the soil. it contains a lot of microbes.
Okay, so then you just, so I've always had the challenge of when children have cough, you want to give them ginger, because I take that as my first aid when I have a cough or a cold. Is it good for children?
I had a friend whose daughter was coughing so badly. Yeah. She had been given amoxiclav and was it Zithromax or something. And I gave her a call and the child was coughing. So I just said, you know, I think you should put some ginger in warm water, add a little lemon, and then a little honey so that the child can take it. After 3 days, she called me. In fact, she gave me a name, Dr. KAPTURED.
I can imagine.
We have adopted that name, Dr. KAPTURED.
Interesting.
And she said it really worked. So the husband was also having it. Those who have used it
at my home,
yes. I also use it a lot, you know. Sometimes when
but
you're
for the
doing
kids,
and all that,
you know, because their immunity is not as strong as that, you need to really wash it well. Wash it
and the running water preferably, so that you get off.
Anyway, Rosalind, what are some of the drinks or delicacies you can prepare with ginger alone?
Any quick
with
recipes?
Ginger alone. Well, personally, I only slice it and put it in warm water. And the warm water, just like I said, it shouldn't be boiling water, it shouldn't be hot water. It's warm water. I don't add sugar. I just add a little lemon.
But we can add sugar.
You can add sugar.
The sweet
if you don't want sugar, you can add honey. And make sure you get a good honey too. Yes. And then you can drink. Or you can do the infused water. It's been going around on WhatsApp. So that one with cucumber and then mint leaves. That's if you want to lose weight. Because mint leaves will also prevent you from eating to your fill. And then you add lemon. I've mentioned it already. Then you can also add wintia if you like.
Dr. KAPTURED, finally, for the men out there who are who think they are being left out, is there any other
added benefits
that
ginger presents?
You know how in the adverts they say it. I have to try and get that right. Is there any other, like in behind closed doors? Does it help them in any way?
Anyway,
or you haven't tested that
in certain quarters?
There was only one. I don't know if that helps, but there was only one study that said that ginger also helps in increasing the weight of the testosterone.
It's okay. I'm sure they are very excited. Eating all the ginger in Ghana. Men, don't run us out of ginger. We needed to cook your food for you. But anyway, guys, that has been an interesting discussion about ginger and its health benefits. We have been speaking to Rosalind Esi Ahene. She's the technical manager and head of Food and Drinks Laboratory at Ghana Standards Authority. Thank you so much, Rosalind. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. Stay here with us on Captured by Women.
It's been a very, very exciting show today. We've had conversations about Ghana's population. We've celebrated our 3 wonderful young women who made us so proud in the just ended WAEC. And we've also talked about ginger, which has a lot of medicinal value and also can be very useful around the home. We hope that you've enjoyed this show. You've learned a few things from us, and we are looking forward to meeting you again, same time next week. Thank you very much for joining us on Captured by Women.
Have a good week. Bye. Bye.